You gotta get up and dance especially hard for me. Let's go, girls.
My name is Brady. I'm big, I'm brown, and I'm a woman. A proud trans woman. So I guess I'm as visible as it gets. And right now, our whole trans whānau has never been more visible. In some ways, this is the best time to be trans. At this year's Big Gay Out, the crowd just couldn't get enough of me. And this being an election year, the politicians couldn't get enough of the crowd.
The work that we've done over the last few years to improve the access for our trans community.
We're totally supportive, and so it's important that we will back it up and we'll continue to do it.
And make sure that that's in the budget.
But our growing visibility has also brought us loads of hate. Earlier this year, a British lady flew all the way over here from the UK to kindly explain to us that we don't actually exist.
Trans women are men!
Well, she was in for a surprise. We do. The same day, a helpful gentleman explained the facts of life to us.
A woman is a girl that's born at biological birth that has a vagina, and a man is a male that's born at biological birth who has a penis. Simple.
Actually, it's not that simple. It's taken me the best part of my 35 years on this earth to figure it out. It started when I was 13. I used to always think I was gay. I used to always think, oh, okay, so my makeup is of a boy. When really, this feminine energy that I held was more potent than just being male. I didn't figure that out for a very long time. I think I was well into my 20s. These feelings that I've been feeling have been suppressed for so long, and so to really face it and be honest with it, it was just kind of like splash of water on my face. And I think also performing arts played a big part into that. My creativity held no gender.
A girl alone, all on her own, must try to have a heart of stone. So I try not to make it known my yearning.
Also, thank God my parents' love and support was unconditional. Growing up in small, conservative Timaru, I needed all the support I could get. I was a young Māori kid who was obviously different, but they were there for me every step of the way.
Oh, hey, my darling. Good for you. Thank you.
They've always known I was queer, but I think I officially came out properly maybe 2 years ago at Christmas time, and all they've ever said is that they want me to be safe.
The emission results were disappointing.
See?
It's just getting my own head around the transition that he's making. But
my dad, I love him, but he's still struggling with the pronouns.
It's about what he thinks, so as long as he's happy and he knows he's going in that right direction, we'll support him 100%. Yeah, it has been difficult, but not as difficult as what he's been going through.
And I just say, are you safe? Are you okay? Because of these things that happen in the world now where people can't express and then they have suicide. That was probably my biggest fear.
Knowing that they love me regardless is something that I hold really dearly to myself. I'm lucky. Lots of trans people don't get the support I have. But even with family support, the trans journey is really hard. It's hard being trans because just existing can piss people off. No one makes this decision lightly. I don't think it's ever not difficult, if I'm being honest with you. Your advocacy as a trans woman starts the second you step foot out the door. You've always got this checklists of safety, I like to call it in my head. Is it a safe place? Am I going with safe people? Are there going to be people there that are going to potentially embarrass me? Are there people in there that are going to potentially physically harm me? And so you either decide on the front doorstep, am I going to cower to this, or am I going to stand up and face it? And so we stand up and face it. I just decided to be present with my community and mostly just watch. In the end, Posey Parker didn't get to spread her anti-trans rhetoric in New Zealand. But this is what she had to say at a similar rally in the UK.
And I can't wait until these pervert, toxic and child abusers all get put in jail, in a men's prison.
It was this kind of hate speech that enraged local activists who forced her off the stage. The next day, she scarpered back to the UK. Do I think she deserved to get Timaru juice on her? No. I'd heard tell that there were some trans Māori women that really wanted to hear what she said, and it's sad that they weren't able to. And all I could think was, you put yourself in that situation by coming to a place and telling trans people how to live their lives. But also on top of that, your message wasn't just trans people, it was Indigenous trans people. And I'm an Indigenous trans woman. You cannot tell me that my existence and my own culture is wrong because I am from a long line of Indigenous trans people, and we know our place on the marae, we know our places. I just remember thinking afterwards, when the protest was done, this feeling of sadness, because as much as I love our allies, they protect us and they look after us and they are strong voices for us. But once the allies are gone and everything disperses, what's left? What happens now? Have we just made things worse for us? Have we made a more dangerous society? I struggled for weeks afterwards to make sense of it all. And then I had an idea. As they say, if you want to understand the future, you should first look to the past. So I've decided to go on a journey to chart the history of Aotearoa's trans community, one generation at a time. I want to know what their struggles were, how they overcame them, and how one generation built something beautiful and valuable for the next.
Hello, hi.
I'll meet Lexi, who is in her late 70s.
What would it have been like if I had been able to come out when I was 20, if that had been an environment? But it wasn't. It was early 50s, relationship broken up, living alone and thinking, who could love someone like this?
Gemma, in her 60s, who survived the brutality of the streets and prison.
We shared clothes, we shared hair, we used to share hormones.
Felicia, a champion of the Pacifica trans community.
As much as I'm a very respected human rights activist, I'm also a very well-respected sex worker.
Unlucky overhand, red ball.
Sarah, the world's first national trans netball coach.
I was on international television, people seeing a person of colour as a trans person, holding that mana in space gave them like just a little glimmer of hope of being able to pursue sport.
And Ree, a trans man.
And when I moved through the world, like I could walk down the dairy and for the most part, if I drop my voice and square my shoulders and go in and talk to the person behind the counter, they're just going to read me as like an average dude that's walking around my neighbourhood.
And Chanel, a young activist.
I believe there's a divide between the older trans people and younger trans people, that the older trans people believe that you need to have medically transitioned to be trans. I think young people are more open to the idea that you can be trans without having operations, or you can be trans and be outside the binary of man and woman.
Join me, Brady, as I uncover the inspirational stories of trans New Zealanders of all generations.